language used to manipulate people, distort reality, deny facts, and betray our American ideals of liberty and justice. We need now to believe in the power of language to help us connect across our differences, express empathy, form new alliances, fuel our better natures, and live more fully the values we espouse. Surely, surprising acts of resistance will arise from the spirit of resilience and solidarity, energized by this dangerous turn in American leadership. Well, now I should say so-called leadership, because you can add gross incompetence to everything else. maybe all the women who attend what was originally called the Million Women March in Washington should wear the hijab in solidarity with those who feel the very real vulnerability arising from the threatening rhetoric of this campaign. I think of this remembering the symbolic power of an action taken just days after the terrorist attacks in Paris in November 2015, when public protests were banned. 10,000 pairs of shoes were lined up in the Place de la République, shoes from Pope Francis, shoes from the Dalai Lama, shoes of the living and shoes of the dead. They stood in for the 200,000 people anticipated to gather on Paris streets ahead of the Paris Climate Summit. Sure, take to the streets, sign petitions, move to a red state, and run for the school board. Donate to organizations that work on the local level or promote human rights. Think of the great spirit of inventiveness the earth calls forth after each major disturbance it suffers. Be artful, inventive, and just, my friends, but do not be silent.
And that's what we're endeavoring to do with Truth to Power, is not be silent. And we're endeavoring to address much of what Allison addressed in her wonderful letter, and that is to address racism, homophobia, xenophobia, rights for people with disabilities. It feels like every day when you turn on the news there's a new disaster that has come from the White House. And so we are going to keep on talking. We are going to keep this conversation going. We have readings scheduled in Phoenix, Chicago, Northampton, Massachusetts, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Missoula, Montana, Asheville, North Carolina, Montgomery, Alabama.
And Ajo.
And Ajo, Arizona, yes, Ajo. Oh, speaking of Ajo, I have to thank my sister Val, who did the cover. These are two of her sculptures. She did these wonderful sculptures. They're about 8 feet high. After the election, she put black cloths over their eyes. Called them election results. Our next reader is Kim Nicolini. Kim's art and writing have appeared in Counterpunch, Bad Subjects, Punk Planet, Suscient, La Furia Umana, and Berkeley Poetry Review. Her memoir and letters with original artwork titled Dead Rock Stars was published in conjunction with a solo show at Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Center. Her first book of original art and writing is titled Mapping the Inside Out.
Welcome everybody. I'm so happy to see you all here, and many thanks to Pam for, just what a tremendous thing to do so quickly. I was in Pam's workshop with Pam shortly before the election, and I'm really glad I was, because like so many people, I was just stunned, and ever since I've been writing, and it completely changed my writing, and I realized that writing is what I have to do. It's not a choice. It's a necessity. And I'm so glad to see so many of you here feel the same way. So, but that's my grand intro. I'm going to start with a reading by someone who's not me also. Heidi Erdrich, who is the sister of Louise Erdrich. So I'm honored to read this piece, and Pam picked it out, and I said, oh, thanks, this is one I can read. The pacifist grows mean. Courage, when it speaks, might be a small, peaceful man, gray-haired, of no color, unrighteous, but right. You would be as kind, but know inside every handshake is a fist. Your deep-born peace also knows this. Your peace grows gravel-voiced, erodes, grains of sand in wind. 2 centuries of scouring abrasion, day to day to day. At first, it hurts, like a voice leaving, or the opposite, a stillness taken over. Hundreds of years of whispers in one roar. Your peace defeats itself. Called to defend, your peace finds a line, then finds any line. Takes sides one day, your blood jumps up one day, your warrior blood jeers. You speak your peace, you boo and hiss and rant. You spend years drowning out that sound without sound. Your peace, you damp it down, cachet it deep, that largeness of humanity, that quiet that once held you before you were claimed by your chorus, before your peace worked for others, before you grew to know what it might mean to be so mean. That's a great poem. Thanks for picking that one. It's really nice on the page. It breathes like a voice. Okay, so I'll read mine. So I wrote this 1 week after the election, like so many people said, but I just felt like, I couldn't move, and I was like, okay, Kim, use your words. You got to get going here, girl. So that's what I did, and I wrote this poem called Where Color Hurts. Inspired while being at the gym with my daughter, watching all those television screens across it. I was like, shut up. Where color hurts. We never imagined a world where color hurts. To imagine color toxic, sharp, is to imagine now, and now is frankly unbearable. Blare and glare of lines and edges, red, white, blue, and orange. Screaming faces I will not see, shouting words I will not hear, reducing atrocities to artifice through repetition on blinking screens. Videos go viral. Color aborts truth with sensation. Ugly fonts repeat ugly words on a white scroll. Death toll. Casualties distanced through the quantification of numbers. The most beautiful moment of moonrise is the darkness that precedes light. Sliver of time when star glow mutes color into shadow. Night wrapped in obscurity of dreams imagined. Bats ascend in a funnel cloud. This could be a natural disaster. It rains urine and batshit, crazy. The wash breathes a deep, dank breath. Lost bodies under bridges, a bra strung across tree branches, stories untold on the white scroll and colors too bright to see. We hang on a thread of light, lingering over this dry riverbed, this bed of sand, bed of drought, bed of dead trees and waste, bed where the man waits, his face the color of rusted coils. Grudge in teeth, a need to remove our tongues. I plant my feet, fight back with my sheer lack of movement. Wipe his face from the slate with a dirty rag for dirty lies till he tucks his cock and tail between his legs, recedes into the nightmare that never was supposed to be. Bitch man, who's the dog now? We can dissolve in a blanket so blue it's black. Turn our backs to the white scroll of his howls, news hammered to a thud, kill the media migraine, mute the color. Let us soften the blow in the dim halo of a moonless night. Sky gives more truth than reality too unreal to accept. We demand a return of color that no longer hurts to see.
That's what I love about teaching at the U of A Poetry Center workshops. You run into wonderful poets like Kim, who came from LA and was associated for a long time with Beyond Baroque. So, hardly ever do I get to introduce this guy, but my partner in crime is William Pitt Root, and he has done a lot to make this anthology possible, so I like to thank him, and he also has to lug all those boxes of heavy books up the driveway. And so I wanted to thank you. Bill is the poetry editor of Cutthroat, a Journal of the Arts. Our magazine is, we started in 2005, again at the kitchen table, only this time in Durango, Colorado, and we named it after our endangered species trout. So Bill's dozen-plus collections include Strange Angels and his translations, Sublime Blue, selected early odes of Pablo Neruda, 2013, which will be available tomorrow here at Antigone's. Translated into 20 languages, his work appears in hundreds of lit mags and anthologies, including The New Yorker, The Atlantic, APR, Nation, Poetry, recipient of Guggenheim and Rockefeller, NEA, and Stanford University grants. Root served as United States, United Kingdom,